So then the best way to do this question is actually write out the sequence for each one and show that there's only one number in both sequences. So if we take 3n take away 2, and we want to know what the sequence looks like, so this is how we do it. We put in each number. n equals 1, n equals 2, n equals 3, n equals 4. So 3 times 1 is 3, take away 2 is 1. N equals 2, so 3 times 2 is 6, take away 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9, take away 2 is 7. And we can start to see the sequence goes 1, 4, 7, and I know it's going to go 10, it's going to go 13, and it's going to carry on. Okay, let's do the same for 10 minus 2n. And let's just put here the first few, and then we'll find the pattern. n equals 1, n equals 2, n equals 3. So if I put n equals 1, it's 10 take away 2 times 1. So 10 take away 2 is 8. N equals 2, so 2 times 2 is 4. 10 take away 4 is 6. And we can start to see 2 times 3 is 6. 10 take away 6 is 4. 8, 6, 4, 2, 0. And we know it's going to carry on. Okay, so Sally says there is only one number that is in both sequence A and sequence B. Is Sally right? Yes. And we can see it's this number. This one's only going to get bigger, this one's only going to get smaller, so we're not going to have another crossover, so it must be this one. So I'd say yes, only number is 4. Okay, question 17. Trigonometry, and I know that because it's a right angled triangle and we are using an angle. So the first thing that we've got to do is label the side. So opposite the right angle is going to be the hypotenuse, and the one left over is the adjacent. Okay, so we need to decide now which one. So what are we going to use? So I can see that I want to find O, and I've already got the length, or I already know about H. Okay, so the one that connects them both is the sine one. Okay, be careful with this. It must be the opposite on top and the hypotenuse at the bottom. So let's put this in. Sine the angle is equal to opposite. I can call it O, but it's also X, and H is 7.8. Okay, so now we need to decide how are we going to get X on its own. So if we think about rearranging this, I need to get rid of this 7.8. So I need to times by 7.8. So 7.8 times by sine 43 must leave me with just X on its own. Okay, let's move it up. There we go. So 7.8 times sine 43, and my answer is 5.3195. Carries on. Now this question says 3 significant figures. So 3 significant figures will be 5, 3, 1, and it's going to move to a 2. Okay, the 9's going to make it move to the 2. So up here I'll write X equals 5.32. Okay, question 18. So the key about this question is to make sure you're fully aware of what V stands for and what D stands for. So now that you've read the question, work out the speed. Okay, the speed is V, and D is the length of mark of the car tyres make. Okay, in feet. Okay, so the speed is equal to the square root of 21 times D. Speed, and D is the feet, the length the car tyres make. So if we read this question, now a car has to make an emergency stop. The car's tyres make a mark of 90 feet long. Now we've just learnt in the question that that is D. So D is equal to 90. We want to work out the speed. So we want V is equal to the square root of 21 times 90. Okay, which is the square root of, like that, 1,890, which is equal to, square root that, change it to a decimal, 43 3.474 and it carries on. Okay, so it says give your answers to the nearest whole number. So the nearest whole number will be 43 miles per hour. Okay, let's have a look at this question now. So part B, it says the car makes an emergency stop. The car's speed was 50. So on this part of the question, they're giving us the other bit of information. They're telling us that V equals 50. And they want us to work out the length of the mark on the road. So they want us to work out D. So a couple of ways that you could do this. You could rearrange this equation to get D on its own and then put the values in. Or, which I think is the preferred way, is to put the numbers in now. So let's put 50 in for V. And let's think about how we're going to get D on its own. So the first thing we need to do is get rid of the square root. So we need to square both sides. 50 squared is 2,500. And then we need to divide by 21. So 2,500 divided by 21 is equal D. It looks like it's another whole number. 500 divided by 21 is 119.047 and it carries on. Again, nearest whole number, so we're going to say this is 119 feet and that would be 3 marks. So 5 marks using this rule. 1 is the straightforward going forwards. Part B is using it the other way and kind of rearranging going backwards.